Wash your hands, don't touch your face, wipe things down, clean up your space. When you cough and sneeze, do responsibly. If you feel you're getting ill, isolate at home and chill. No, you're not alone. Please pick up your phone and call 206-477-3977. Can count it 206-477-3977. Public Health 206-477-3977. Can count it 206-477-3977. Public Community Radio Station will provide you with more information. Say Rainier Avenue Radio. Your community radio station will provide you with more information. Rainier Avenue Radio.
Mga kaibigan, ito po si Kuya Bert Kawili.
And this is Miles Salvador from Australia.
And I'm Norb Kawili, also known as Norbcam.
Kung gusto niyo po ang latest news and events from the Philippines at yung local Filipino community, Radio po.
We play Filipino music and interview guests from all around the world.
And I'll keep you updated on the latest Seahawks and sports news.
Kaya always tune in. Radio every Tuesday, 1 to 2:30 p.m. Pacific Time on Rainier Avenue Radio App.
And in YouTube and Facebook. Salamat po.
What's up, everyone? It's your girl, Queen Bree, inviting you to come join me on Clean Greens Living. Broadcasted Tuesdays, 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, live right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. On Clean Greens Living, we talk farming, community, and ways to being healthy. So come join me and let's discuss ways to create a healthier you and a healthier community.
Hey, listen up. Fentanyl is everywhere, and it's deadly. Just a tiny amount, even in pills or powders you might think are safe, can kill you. You can't see it, taste it, or smell it. It's that dangerous. If you're not sure what you're taking, don't risk it. Talk to someone you trust and look out for your friends. One pill can change everything. Stay smart, stay safe.
You are listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Don't forget to log on www.rainieravenue Radio.world.
Hello. Y'all know I normally come on saying, hi, this is Traci. And I have this level of energy and this level of joy. And today I still have joy. I do. But yesterday we had a celebration of life for the president of the Seattle chapter of the National Black NBA Association. The dude who supported me and bringing this to you, who actually said you should be showing up every week. I'm like, I've done that before. He's like, that's how we leave legacy. Dr. James Carter passed away last week. Dr. James Carter, the president of the National Black NBA Association, passed away last week. And when you play the beginning of this video, let me see, I'm going to add this to the stage. Actually, I'll let my producer do it. If you start the video from the very beginning, they can actually see the flyer. And I think we have Larry. We have Larry Mabry, who does the show before me, who was at the celebration of life. We both knew Dr. James Carter. Larry, would you like to join me? I don't see you, but I'm sure you're here.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, that was quite an experience.
Okay, You know, when you love someone that is showing up, leaving a legacy, supporting us and doing the work that we do, when they are taken away from us quickly, it's a shock.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he, you know, I had the opportunity to kind of hang out where I met Dr. Carter, I would say early September. And, you know, the type of man that allowed you to kind of build relationships quickly, but very authentic, you know, which was really cool. He was from Chicago, I'm from Detroit, so we had that commonality, an opportunity to kind of kick it with some pizza and really have a real conversation. And for me, it was poignant because we had a lot of commonalities. You know, he was 60, I'm 52. He's from the Midwest, I'm from the Midwest. He had a relationship with his stepdad, and my stepdad had just recently passed away. His stepdad had passed away. He basically had 2 prosthetic legs, and my real dad actually has one. And he was just getting around and I'm like, bro, like, how are you able to do this? And he basically would just say, you know, I was, you know, in the Army, and my real dad was in the Army, and he was like, yo, you know, you just handle your business. And I was like, wow, that's what's up. You know what I'm saying? So it was like really encouraging. But very, I would just say very real brother, you know, real cool. And so I think it was tough for all of us.
Yes, definitely. But also beautiful, like a celebration of life by definition. They're meant to be a true celebration. And I felt like that was like, I didn't leave there feeling distressed or depressed. We all said he was leaving a legacy, and we should leave living a legacy. Like we should leave that space living a legacy, showing him, you know, that we not only appreciate and value, but showing him how important it is for each of us to show up. I want to show one of the videos, and let's see if we can play video clip number 1 from the very beginning. Can you do that?
With the emotions that I was feeling or that I was working on, they had to deal with my stepfather passing away. And being angry, being lonely, being sad, being confused, looking at this doctor like, what do you mean he has cancer? What? No, he doesn't. We went to see the White Sox the other day, and we walked about a block to the car, and he was in good health. He was in good spirits. But what I have to own is I was comfortable in those emotions because it reminded me of good times. So this is probably something I probably needed to do for a while. That anger just comes from him not being here. The mind is a beautiful thing. It can really crush you and crush your spirits if you let it, if you don't control it, if you don't put together the work for the thoughts to help you make it to the next minute and the next hour and the next day. I'm laying in a hospital bed, and my mindset is, am I going to be thought of less of a man because I'm missing a limb? Am I going to be thought of less of a man because I'm missing 2 limbs? And the Lord said, hey man, you are so much more than your legs. You didn't become Dr. Carter because you had legs. And I've lived a life. You know, I've worked on a young soul, and it's so unfortunate that this young man will not have the opportunity.
I think we have another guest who, Dr. Carter was executive director of the Breakfast Group, and we have someone who's from the board. I'd like to invite Herbie Martin to join us as well. Can we get the other view? I actually like the other view better. Yeah, that's the one I like the best. Thank you. Hi, Herbie. Larry, you guys watched that video yesterday. You just saw it again today. What do you think about him sharing emotions, talking, just being a guy who was just authentic? Talk about that.
First off, I'd like to do just a moment of silence just to respect the space and just bring him into our space, if that's all right, just for just a few seconds. Thank you. Can you say the question again? I'm sorry. I was so caught up in that moment where.
Right. I think a lot of people were. So he talked about handling emotions, and I thought like I put on the flyer that you saw, I wrote that he was a dear friend, a trusted advisor, a big brother, a loving father. But he's coaching us right now on the feelings we're having about him, as he talked about the feelings he was having about his stepfather. So just wanted to get your thoughts about the importance of like managing emotions in times like this, and anything else you want to share.
As a board member, he was part of the committee that was doing the gathering for December. So I had already made my arrangements for December to come back I think I was coming back for 8 or 9 days. I live in Mexico. I'm a still board member here. I lived in Seattle for 30 years. I've never had somebody so close to pass on me like this right here, whatever. So a quick thing. I'm from Chicago. He's from Chicago. I was on the west side. He was on the south side. He was in the military. He was in the Air Force. I was in the Army. He was 60. I turned 62. He was in law enforcement. I was in law enforcement. I finished my master's degree at Seattle University. His son played at Seattle University. The community outreach with the Seattle engagement and bringing the kids over there with Seattle, we all collaborated for all of this stuff. He was our executive director. Anytime we gave something, his plate only got larger. He never turned down an assignment. His plate, he started here, his plate got smaller. In the 1995s, 90s, I started a Boys to Men program. So I grew up without a father. I was the only male, and I had 3 sisters and a cousin and my mother. So I know the importance of a male role and giving back. And people poured into me. So I know what it's like to pour back into people. And I know James.
For people who don't know what the Breakfast Group is, how would you describe the Breakfast Group? We say he was the executive director of the Breakfast Group, and we all know, but tell us just real quick, how would you describe that?
The Breakfast Group was started in 1976 in the Central District of Seattle. It was an area, remember the Central District was only allowed for African Americans to live because of the red line at the time. So we would walk down to the church that was in the neighborhood, and we had a breakfast group. And if you came in there broken or whatever you needed, you came to the breakfast group, and you had mentors from men from all professional walks of life, lawyers, teachers, doctors. The mayor is a breakfast group member. The school superintendent is a breakfast group member. Doctors, lawyers, teachers, military, government workers, construction workers, all walks of life are breakfast group members. Microsoft, Amazon, we're all investors. We're examples we're our electives in 6 of the schools. As a matter of fact, we don't have enough men to come to the plate and be part of but a lot of folks tell us what they want us to do or whatever, but a lot of people are not really being there and doing stuff what they can do or whatever. But I think I said enough about that. I want to go back to James right quick though, when I was going down the list. I have one more thing. James was a gentle giant and a man of wisdom. He could walk into a room that had a storm. When James leave the room, there's no more storm. I don't know what kind of skill set he had. I'm a theologian. I'm still trying to gather it myself. I'm asking God for that type of wisdom myself or whatever, because I've learned to be a mediator. I try to listen to both sides and bring people back to the middle. And James had that gift. So I hope I answered your question. I'm still in shock too. I'm flying back out in the morning. I'll be back here in December. But
that was beautiful. No, that was beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Reverend Martin. Larry, would you share your thoughts if they're watching that video and experiencing Dr. Carter like we all did?
Well, I would say kind of what Reverend Martin said. I mean, he was very skilled. For me, I had the opportunity of meeting him. I would say we spoke on the phone. August, September, we connected. I'm one of the facilitators for one of the breakfast group spots in Roosevelt. We met. I got connected with some key people there. You know, he was just a man of action, you know, had a good rapport. You know, we had a meeting with the individuals who were the other coordinators. And for me, you know, I can just see that he was just emotionally intelligent, very authentic. You know, he came from Chicago, I came from Detroit, and our family in Chicago. So I felt that vibe. And, you know, for those individuals who aren't from Seattle, but like I would say transplants, it's a different vibe, right? And so I agree with, you know, Reverend Martin. He had a skill set to just be authentic, you know. And I think because he was so authentic, just who he was who he was, you know, people trusted him and believed in him because he was real, right? And I'm not saying that, you know, people aren't being real, but it was cool to, you know, have somebody who said, hey, I got you, and they got you. And then when my stepfather passed away just recently before Dr. Carter passed away, you know, he had words of encouragement. You know, he's like, nope, I got you. We're good. You know, take care of your fam, come back. And, you know, as I look at that now, I'm very blessed, you know, that I had the opportunity to spend some quality time with him for, you know, lunch. You know, we had real talk, you know, and I'll share a story that was kind of cool. One day we set up a time to meet over at the school, Roosevelt. And, you know, I hear him bumping, you know, he had this truck. And for those people that know him, you know, Dr. Carter's a pretty tall brother. And so, you know, he pulled up in his truck and I'm hearing some Depeche Mode. And I'm like looking around like, wait, you know, that's old school. What's up with that? You know what I'm saying? And so he gets out the truck, you know, and I pull up and I'm like, oh, so what you know about Depeche Mode? He's like, oh man, I got to show you my collection. I'm like, oh, okay. And so it was like, well, right there, we already had the brotherhood. Because I was like, oh, you going back out there and you blasting it like, you know, like what we do in the streets. Like you, I was like, okay, that's what's up, right? And so we just had that humor connection, and then we went in to take care of business. So it was just a beautiful experience, you know, that you know, even though he's professional, you know, he was a boy that was cool, like, and so it was good to experience that.
Totally. So, Reverend Herbie Martin, what you don't know about Larry is that he hosts the show right here on Rainier Avenue Radio before me, and his show is called Mental Health Awareness for Men.
Yes.
And so the interesting thing when you talk about Dr. Carter had emotional intelligence, and the reason, I mean, that little 4-minute tribute video that I pulled together from him participating in a series that we led called the Living Powerfully Experience and the Better Together Empowerment Series. That's literally kind of the whole premise of us doing this show. Again, I'm doing it partially because he said this is how we show up in community, right? And so, you know, he talked about feeling his feelings, naming his feelings. And oftentimes we don't do that. And I loved how that little scene where he paused and said, you know, I probably should have done this, you know, a while ago, because we don't necessarily allow ourselves to feel the feeling. So Larry, between the two of you, what advice would you both give to people who knew and have lost people? We're going into the holidays, one of the toughest times of the year for some people when you lose someone. What advice would you share with people about the importance of acknowledging your emotions, feeling those feelings, and actually being, knowing that that's a manly thing to do, right?
Yeah, I would say definitely be authentic. If you have to express yourself, without judgment. I know because I work with a lot of gentlemen, and sometimes people need to do it in private, which is fine. If you have, loved ones or people that you feel comfortable with, you can share with them as well. But it's no shame in your game to express yourself. I think that's part and parcel of us, becoming full within ourselves. And so if you feel the need to express yourself, express it.
All right, Reverend Martin, your thoughts?
I would like to bring two different perspectives. The first one is that remember that living and dying is part of our process. In the Western culture, we don't speak about death. I just came up, my significant other in Mexico lost her mother and her father. However, just before coming up here in Mexico, they celebrate what they call the Day of the Dead. They put up an altar, they put up a picture, they put up flowers, they put up this arrangement. So they are in touch with the dead. Not saying I believe they come and speak to you or whatever. They
respect and honor them.
They honor their existence. They honor. Anytime you bring up the name of somebody, you honor them and you respect them. And we don't do that in this culture. So I respected that because I never met her mother, but now I met her mother through the pictures and the fathers, the dog, or the family line. It was 8 or 9 pictures there. So I think in our culture, and then we got it wrong too, because they said when you're born into the world, you're supposed to be crying. And when you die, you're supposed to celebrate. We got it backwards. So we got to go back and read the good book so we can really deal and cope with the real world and real issues that's going to be facing us, no matter if we expecting it or unexpected. And then I worked for the Department of the Social Security Administration when I was in Colorado. Almost every day, somebody came into my office. They didn't expect anyone to die at their office, die on going to work, but now they had to deal with Social Security for their children, for their wives, so I dealt with it all the time as a worker working for the Department of Social Security Administration. However, it's not a shock. We're not promised, like he said in this video, we're not promised tomorrow. We're not promised the next moment. The question is today, though, what kind of legacy are we going to leave? What are they going to say about us? How many people will show up? Those are the real questions that we want to ask that's going to change the moral compass.
I love that. That's exactly what we want to ask. We're going to play this second little half of the video clip. Again, I created a 4-minute tribute. You saw the first 2 clips. Now he's going to show the second 2 clips. And what he's saying in the beginning is there was a young man who was shot, and he was commenting on that. And then he's going to talk about the importance of community.
With the emotions that I was feeling or that I was working on, they had to deal with my stepfather passing away. And being angry, being lonely, being sad, being confused, looking at this doctor like, what do you mean he has cancer? What? No, he doesn't. We went to see the White Sox the other day, and we walked about a block to the car, and he was in good health. He was in good spirits. But what I have to own is I was comfortable in those emotions because it reminded me of good times. So this is probably something I probably needed to do for a while. That anger just comes from him not being here. The mind is a beautiful thing. It can really crush you and crush your spirits if you let it, if you don't control it, if you don't put together the work for the thoughts to help you make it to the next minute and the next hour and the next day. I'm laying in a hospital bed, and my mindset is, am I going to be thought of less of a man because I'm missing a limb? Am I going to be thought of less of a man because I'm missing 2 limbs? And the Lord said, hey man, you are so much more than your legs. You didn't become Dr. Carter because you had legs. And I've lived a life. Community is really important, because if we lose community, we lose ourselves. Our ability to survive, our ability to move forward, our ability to plan and make life better for those who are going to come behind us. It takes a team, it takes a family, it takes a village. There are so many decisions and details that have to be looked after to take care of these young folks. And it takes more than just one person, more than just one body to be able to do that. And so I think in my mind, in order for me to be liberated, I've got to give back. And so that there's somebody to fill the space when I'm gone to allow me to be liberated. Yes. And as long as I'm living in that truth, then I feel like I'm taking steps in the right direction. There's no guarantee I'm going to be here tomorrow. And there's no guarantee that we are going to be here next month. But what I can guarantee you is that as long as I have the opportunity to give and to give back, well, that's just what I'm going to do. So.
That's called legacy, brother.
I love that. I love that so much. Wow. Wow.
I would like to comment on that just right quick on the community piece of it. The reason I moved to Mexico is because they have community. They have a sense of culture. They have a sense of good climate. But they don't have much, but what they have is they have a sense of community. And we had that once upon a time. Back in the day, we used to walk up and throw our hands up. And we didn't even know each other. We would just throw our hands up and say, you on that side of the street, I'm on this side of the street. I got you, you got me. And African Americans are the ones, I think we're still dealing with that Lynchburg syndrome, where if you do this for 400 years, you can mess with their minds. Because when I go around the world and been around the world, we're the only culture that don't realize the importance of family, community. I'm as only as strong as you, and you is only as strong as me. And we all have to be together. And
I love that.
Because and then we had a saying in the military, I love it. We're as only as strong as the weakest link.
Which goes into us pouring into each other. I love that too.
So we got to go back and realize that our community is missing the vital link of not having each other's back, because I grew up knowing that my community had my back. If a boy got in trouble, one person didn't go down to the police station, the community went down. And they wanted to see the person, they wanted to see the charges.
Right.
Get more engaged, because everyone is important. Every link in the chain is important. It matters. So really, when they came up and said that we can move out, we were better. From my standpoint, we were better because our money circled when we were just in that red line, because we made our money work. We had to make it work. We couldn't live anywhere else. We had to know who was doing what or whatever. That's just my philosophy. There's a lot going on behind that. But we get back. The internet has given us more distractions, but it has not really linked us together for things that really matters. So we got to get off we got to turn off, and we got to engage.
Engage personally, right? Getting better together. That's really what this series was about. We're going to take our first break, Reverend Martin, and we're going to come right back to Better Together and Living Powerfully. Stay with us.
Here with the Rainier Avenue Radio Traffic Update. You can listen to us in your car 24/7 anytime by downloading the free TuneIn app. Once you do, search Rainier Avenue Radio. And remember, do not curse out your fellow drivers. This has been your Rainier Avenue Radio Traffic Update.
Support for Rainier Avenue Radio comes from Cascade PBS, presenting season 2 of Out and Back with Allison Mariella Desir. Join Allison as she explores the Pacific Northwest with changemakers who are reclaiming space in the outdoors and creating opportunities for local BIPOC communities to engage with nature and find joy and healing. It's available now on Cascade PBS app and airing on KCTS 9 Thursdays at 8:50 p.m.
Hey, community, listen to New Hope Missionary Baptist Church every Sunday at 10:45 a.m.
We invite you to get up and call a friend and tell them that New Hope is on live. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. And now, our pastor, the Reverend Dr. Robert L. Jeffrey Sr. Everybody clap your hand, come on.
Listen to New Hope Missionary Baptist Church every Sunday at 10:45 a.m.
We are strong, we are resilient, and we will get through this together. But these are stressful times, and it's important to also practice good self-care. It's normal to feel overwhelmed, anxious, but there is hope. Reach out to someone, connect with your friends, stay in touch with your community, and know that you are not alone.
Hey, Seattle, tune in to Lidline Sports every Monday, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m.
What up, yo? We are back. This is Pep, and the man that don't take no mess, Mr. O-P-I-S, Mr. Stevenson. What say you?
I hope you see the hat that I'm wearing right now. That's how mad I am.
I do. Man, you are angry.
I just want to make that be known.
Tune in to Lidline Sports every Monday, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Lidline Sports.
Hey, listen up. Fentanyl is everywhere, and it's deadly. Just a tiny amount, even in pills or powders, you might think are safe, can kill you. You can't see it, taste it, or smell it. It's that dangerous. If you're not sure what you're taking, don't risk it. Talk to someone you trust and look out for your friends. One pill can change everything. Stay smart, stay safe.
This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not busy tearing the roof off the suckers, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Hey y'all, this is Dr. Traci Harrell. This is Better Together and Living Powerfully. And today we are honoring our fallen brother, a man who lived a legacy of love and leadership. Can you show that visual real quick? Y'all, Dr. James Carter, make me way smaller and make that way bigger. Dr. James Carter was president of the Seattle chapter of the National Black MBA Association, and honestly, a friend, a brother. And yesterday we had a celebration of life for him. And because he was involved in so many different organizations, he was president of the Seattle chapter of the National Black MBA Association, but he was part of at least 5 or 6 other organizations that represented him well, one of which was the Breakfast Group. He was the executive director of the Breakfast Group. We actually have one of the board members from the Breakfast Group on with us today. He was also he was the vice president for Seattle Alphas. He was part of the Washington Build Black Back Alliance, and also an honored, cherished member of the Tacoma Pierce County Black Collective. So just a man who was all about legacy. If you watch that last video clip, it was about legacy. So I'm going to ask Reverend Martin to join us again let's talk a little bit about the word legacy. When you think about Dr. Carter, the language that everyone consistently shared was this idea of him exuding love and service. So, he left a legacy of love and service, but we're going to focus in one way we're going to support him. The one way we're going to honor him is we're going to bring people on like you who are living a legacy of love and service, right? We're all showing up, right? Doing this work. We're aligned on a mission. We're not aligned on everything, but we're aligned on these topics related to showing up in love and serving our fellow man. So talk a little bit about the importance of legacy.
I think I was just writing a note down while you were saying that, in the spirit of the life of Dr. Carter, living life is telling someone you love them. And then I want to emphasize again, he said, maybe your last time. So love is loving your family, your loved ones, your community, your world, just loving life and loving nature, just loving. So love is an action word, it's a verb, and it should be displayed. It should not be a noun. So, and I think he clearly, like I was saying at the beginning, that anytime we made a suggestion for something else to do, he just continued to make his plate get larger. And I thank God that I had an opportunity to cross paths with a great man with a legacy like that. It gives me more determination and more willpower, knowing that I got to step up and do more or whatever. But that's what I love. Is I'm thankful to God that I had an opportunity to meet Dr. James Carter. I wish it was longer, but it is what it is. I would cherish that, and I was thinking about our similarities that we have.
I love it.
Legacy. That's what would they say when we leave? So that's the example he gave, and he didn't do it beating a loud drum. He had a beat that he just kept going to, whatever. So, but yeah.
I love it. I love that so much. So the reason I brought you on is because, again, I met several amazing people at his celebration of life. Members of Alpha, Seattle Alphas, members of the Breakfast Group, members of the National Black NBA, but he was also involved in other organizations. The one thing I wanted to mention was his son, Miles, who showed up. Oh my goodness. Was that young man a living legacy? Elegant, just, oh my God, I was so proud of how he spoke about his father, the love in his heart. He said it was his best friend, his manager. They spoke all the time. He's like, honestly, I don't know how I'm gonna, move forward, but he knows the community loves him. What'd you think about his son?
I knew his son when he played at Seattle U. I was a alumni. I was one of the donors for the NBA, for the basketball team. So James and I and the director brought the Breakfast Group there many times or whatever. And I was proud when he came from Seton Hall. He said, "Hey, my son's coming from Seton Hall to play here at Seattle U. He's not starting out there. He's coming here." This brother could jump out of the gym. He could put a quarter on top of the backboard. So yeah, he was doing it. But yeah, he remember. I'm sitting there with his father and watching the games or whatever, watching him play. I remember if it was 1 year or 2 years, but he was here. He made an impact.
I love it.
I love what I saw, the similarities of his father. I mean, the way he was talking, mannerism. So I could see James again. I could hear James. I mean, just through his son or whatever. And then that connection, you can see that or whatever. So it was wonderful. We exchanged numbers. I hope we stay in contact. But it's just about being in the moment and doing what we got to do. And this is one day.
I love that so much. So I brought you on as well because one of the things we're doing to continue this legacy is to continue the Better Together empowerment series, continuing the Living Powerfully experience. Dr. Carter left a legacy of love and service, and we're going to talk about living a legacy of love and service. And you said we the Getting Better Together empowerment series and community was about getting healthier, getting happier, getting wealthier, and getting wiser. And you're like, oh, I could talk about all those topics. I could talk about all of those things. So you said the concept of living your best life now. For some people who are just basically walking through life, almost in an autopilot mode from one thing to the next, what would you share to them about how to live your best life now?
I was the first day I checked into the hotel, my queen African American sister walked in. She was the office manager, and I could see that she had her shoulders were down, her face was down, and I said, "Can I just see you smile?" And then she looked at me like, "Where did that come from?" And then she said, "I have a long list of stuff." I said, "But can I see you smile?" I said, I came all the way from Mexico to be here. And then we engaged in a conversation. So what I think the most important thing I want to say now is being present. And don't work like the world is weighted on your shoulder. Just being present. Even if you're feeling like that, like he said, God, I'm sitting here with no limbs. Am I less than a man? Work with what you have. And then being present, knowing that I made it to work, I got out of bed, I made it here in one piece. Let's be more thankful, being thankful for what we do have and grateful for what we do instead of the next task.
Wow. I love that. That is beautiful. I also love that you asked that woman to smile. Can I see a smile? You know what I say to people, instead of saying, how are you doing? I say, how has God blessed you? How have you been blessed today? How have you been blessed? You kind of put your mind into not how are you doing? All these, no, how have you been blessed? Let's just zero in on a narrow focus on how have you been blessed? What are the good things that are happening? Because we can talk about the bad things, and you just basically said, can I see you smile? When we smile, our whole face lights up, the energy changes. We can change a room, and Dr. Carter had that energy. He definitely had a superpower. I said, your superpower is charm. Whenever something was going on, I was like, can you call such a church and use your superpower of charm? Right. And he definitely was living his best life.
Dr. Traci, I have a question for you though. What is that, how you and I interacted? What made you ask me to come on today to be your guest?
There were a number of things, but the way you came up to me, what did you say to me when you came up to me?
I really appreciate the video because you had showed us a video. I was sitting in the back of the room. I didn't know that he was the director. I mean, he just became the president of the chapter here of the MBA program. And I think
he's been the president for 2.5 years, actually. So it's not new, just to say, but yeah, he's the president.
Yeah, that was the first time I knew he had that house. With that, I never asked question and never dawned on me, but I really appreciate the video and seeing how authentic he was and how transparent and vulnerable. But at the same time, when we're weak, that's when we become strong.
Exactly. Say that again, because I think a lot of times men don't understand that. Men don't understand that when you're able to tap into your emotions, especially if you do it in a space where a woman is able to see it and experience it with you, they're like, oh, he is in touch. Okay. He's in touch with his emotions. He's not pretending like they don't exist. It's beautiful.
It's all right to say, I don't know. It's all right to pause and say, I just need a moment. And then for the brothers that's out there, I want to say this here that I use while we were in the military. We used to use this one phrase, say, then what? If I do this, then what? Because sometimes we react, but we don't stop and pause and say, then if I do this, then what? So Dr. Carter displayed to us it's all right to feel all of these different things, emotions and stuff. However, it's not the end all be all. And then, like I said a moment ago, it's part of the life cycle. The greatest test in life is not when things are going well to see the character of a person. Character of a person is when everything has fallen in and everything seems like it's I remember this when I was in training, my last military training, my mother passed. And I remember her coming by and just saying, I didn't make you to quit. Life goes on. I said, do I just throw in the towel? No, I had to tie a knot, get myself together, and get back out there and get in training. My mother passed while I was in training. So
Wow, I love that.
So
No, I don't love that she passed, but I love that you tell her. That's a great story of resilience, kind of how we show up, how we decide. It's like in those moments. That's what the living powerfully experience is. It's about deciding. It's about being in a position to pause, right? To choose, power of self-command. That's kind of the work that we're doing. That's what he wanted us to bring into community. So I love that you gave that great example.
So the thing is, we need our brothers and our sisters to be sitting at the table at our proper places and doing what we got to do. And holding ourselves accountable, holding our community accountable, holding our children accountable, holding the system accountable, and then that's how we get there.
I love it. So one area, oh, excuse me. Can I ask you another question?
Yes, I was listening. Yes.
So one area that I'm working on, as you know, is I'm continuing to release excess weight. And I've been choosing well. I've lost 35 pounds. So I'm like, I understand what it means to be intentional, to be in the moment. You know, you said something to me like your body is your divine temple. And when I'm choosing foods, I think about that. When I eat something, I'm like we call it PQ. It's a PQ rep, a positive intelligence rep. But it's like this idea of being very intentional to the physical sensations and all the things. That's kind of, it slows you down. It does all these elements. I don't consider myself an expert. I consider myself on the journey, which makes me like the perfect person to talk about this. What's working for me and what isn't. But what I would love for you, you're how old and what are some of the tips that you would share? How young are you? And what are some of the tips that you would share specifically related to getting healthy?
Food
work for you.
Food is. I was born in 1962. I just turned 62 this past August. I'm grateful to still be here. I realized I don't eat pork. I stopped eating pork for about 15 years now.
Oh my God. Excuse me, but can you tell me about pork before you don't just breeze past that one? I'm a Southern girl. I could eat pork for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Okay.
I don't know if I want to know, but I'm gonna go ahead and allow myself to get the wisdom.
From my standpoint,
yes,
I didn't do all the research, but I want to say this. When they gave us chitlins, was that the best part of the pig or the worst part?
In theory, the worst part, yeah.
Okay, they gave us pig feet, pig ears, put it in vinegar and stuff. I'm just saying they pass it on along or whatever. I'm not a medical doctor. However, I think it's in our DNA because when I go back and look at our brothers and sisters, we either have diabetes, we have high blood pressure. They said a brother had a stroke at a picnic party. And they said, just go get him another slab of ribs. He'll be all right.
Wow.
But I went to a pig farm, and when I saw the pig farm, I was done eating pig. It was a reason why they said in the Bible, we got theologians, so I'm not going to go. You got the Old Testament.
Got it. So I'm going to do some research. I'm going to do some research for myself. I feel like I'm ready.
The Jews do not eat pork. All their food has to be kojic, and I would like to see the similarities of looking at their DNA and looking at our DNA, and I guess we could ask those kind of questions and seeing do they line up to what we're dealing with blood pressure.
Okay, I'm sorry. Got it. I love it. So sorry, that was a personal question about pork. My apologies. Your body is a living temple.
So we should drink the water. We should get enough rest. I just say the work-life balance. I used to do when I was in that vicious cycle. Every quarter, I would take time off, even if I took nothing but 3 or 4 days off and went to a hotel in Yakima. If I went to Ocean Shores, I took time away from all of the stuff. Once a quarter, 3 or 4 days. We have to get the proper rest. We got to get the proper exercise. I walk. I try to do 10,000 steps a day. I'm conscious about all these things because my goal is to live to 100. I don't know if I'm gonna get there or not. But I know I have to take care. It's just, if we go take care of our cars, we go give a car a tune up, we go change the oil. When that red light comes on, we go change the lights. We check the air tires. We check the fluids. So we same thing with I think we could do better.
Yes, agreed. I love it. And so, we were at this event. I was feeling tired because, again, I worked on this video. Again, there was tons of hours of Dr. Carter saying similar things. I just kind of turned it into a little 4-minute clip. But I was looking for other things, and we had Nathan Miller, who is he's our producer, who's produced the live shows, the Living Powerfully Experience and Better Together. And Nathan, actually, I wanted to give him some props and credit because that video was beautiful, wasn't it? It was just a 4-minute video, but it was tight. And somehow we just played the wrong version. I don't know if I'm sending people the wrong link, but what he just played was because we have an even tighter version. But Nathan sent me a link. His company he changed the name of his company. So I'll share it in a minute as soon as I find it here. But that was a gift. He said, Dr. Carter, I loved him. And so when we talk about leaving a legacy and showing up, getting healthier, getting happier, getting wealthier, and getting wiser, that concept is like we do the things that we do well and we gift them to community, right? We gift them, or sell them, right? Depending on your business. Talk a little bit about the getting wealthier part, because I think that line, getting healthier, getting happier, getting wealthier, and getting wiser. We'll talk about wealthier because you're living in Mexico, partially because you said it's not about how much you make, but what?
It's how much you keep.
Tell us more.
We had a janitor. I read a story about a janitor who was a multimillionaire because when he got paid, he went and bought stuff at the secondhand store. He was really thrifty with his money. But it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. And if you're investing, if you're doing those things that's going to build wealth, home ownership, paying yourself, emergency fund. This is the basic. They don't teach financial literacy in college. And I think the churches, the universities have to do a better job with that, where we have so much money coming in our hands, and through our hands, are we living off of 80% of it? Thinking long term, thinking for those emergencies, those unexpected things that happen throughout the month. Can we just stop and get on the plane and do what you got to do and be there if you need to be there at the drop of a hat? I want this for the world. I just found out they didn't tell us until just I got a plane just a couple days ago. I've been here since. It's been a whirlwind because it's 2 hours. It's been
a whirlwind for all of us. So thank you so much. When you came, probably the furthest from Mexico to be here in Seattle, I lived in Florida. So Mexico is further trip than Florida. And that's a long flight. That's as far from the continent, in the continental USA. And you weren't even in the USA. So when I say thank you, it says a lot that you were like, that's my brother and I got to be there.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to say something. I was too torn. I was not in that moment. And what tore me down is where one kid say he was playing a football game. He got there. They lost the game. He says it's not how you play the game. It's learn. As long as you learn something, you'll get them next time. Then a little girl said she got sick and the mother couldn't take off or whatever. And he said he would go and spend the day with her. Those are the kind of things that you can't just see behind the scene that he doesn't talk about. He doesn't have to talk about. But those are the kind of person he was. And that's the kind of character. If I can do anything to help you along the way, that's what it's all about.
Isn't that beautiful? I love that you brought that up.
Because those are the stories. Those are the details. That's the fabric of our community. And we got to get back to those times of where whatever you need, I got it. I met you yesterday and you say you need a ride. You're not getting no Uber. I got a rental car. I'll take you there. And you said that's the kind of spirit he had. No, that's the kind of people we were in the 60s growing up and knowing community is all about.
Yeah, you guys were so sweet. So these guys from the breakfast group, I hadn't been as deeply connected, but we're about to, this was what Dr. Carter had said at our national conference. the guys of the breakfast group and the guys of the part of the alphas. He's like, we're doing work that is aligned. They're working on emotional intelligence, and the work I do includes something called positive intelligence. It's a combination of IQ and EQ, and it's really about like, how do we show up living powerfully? How do you show up that with the pause and the breathing and these choices that we get to make? They really are choices. And so I love more than anything this opportunity to partner with you gentlemen, right? Being in a position to bring these words of wisdom. There's so much wisdom in our community, and your light shined through in that moment. And when you came up to me and you said, you appreciated what I said, you appreciated the video, and then you just oozed your positivity. Like I said, he was leaving a legacy of love and joy and love and service, and you had a very similar energy. So I just wanted to say thank you to you. I can't believe we're almost done. How much time do I have? It looks like we have a couple of minutes real quick. Is there anything else you wanted to share on the topic of getting healthier, getting happier, getting wealthier, getting wiser, or just leaving and living a legacy of love and service? That's kind of the theme that Dr. Carter left for us. And I'll bring you back and we'll talk more about getting healthier and happier and wealthier and wiser for sure.
Take each day by the horn, ride the horn, and if you got to be selfish, take some time for you. Make sure you're doing self-care, because if we're missing that link, then somebody's got to try to fill that void, and we're having the good die too young on us. We got to be more mindful and be more in the moment. And really, I want you to remember this. Tell them that you love them. It may be the last time. I love you. This. We never know what's going on tomorrow, the next day, or whatever. I love you. I love the work you're doing. I love the community. I love the other brother. Love is an action word. Let's start showing it. Let's start showing up. Matter of fact, my president, President Amani, was putting the stuff in your car when I came back, and I had to walk.
You're talking about the president of the breakfast group, yes.
You home or whatever, and I told you I was going.
He wasn't. He just didn't want me sitting in the cold. He wasn't going to take me.
Oh, okay.
We couldn't reach you. We couldn't reach you on the phone, and he was like, "Well, I just don't want you sitting outside in the cold." I said, "I'm willing to accept that." So no, I wasn't. He wasn't taking me. I had already said I was good. But anyway, you guys were such gentlemen. He was like, "I don't want you sitting outside," and you were like, "You're not taking an Uber or not on my watch." And it was like, "Oh my God, look at this!" So Dr. Carter style, so much like Dr. Carter. Let me just bring this video up one more time and just take a moment to honor this fallen hero who left a legacy of love and service. He was a friend to all, a brother, a big brother. He showed up, a loving father, a trusted advisor, and definitely a servant leader.
I said God summons him home, and he had to answer the invitation. That's why I told my brothers before I came up here. God summons him home, and he had to meet the he couldn't deny it.
Wow. So as we end this session, I know there's a special announcement I'm supposed to make just for the radio station. They're asking everyone to tune in tomorrow for live election results and interviews on Rainier Avenue Radio. So looks like from 6 to 9 p.m. You're going to have Cindy Bright and Marvin Rosette, hosted by Juan Cotto, right here on Rainier Avenue Radio, live election results. Thank you.
I did vote today. I had to go stand in line.
You made it. I wasn't feeling well today, but I would like to show that my ballot is right here, and I'm gonna put my I voted sticker on as soon as I take it. But yeah, everything is right here for me to take. A lot of people are stressed out about the elections, and I don't stress out about things like this. I've been walking a surrendered life. God's in control, but I would like to pray for our country as we end. I think I got another 30 seconds or so. I do want to pray for Dr. Carter's family, for this community, and for our country. And I'm going to do it right now, Lord. I just thank you. I thank you for allowing us to come together and to share in community. Thank you for giving us a heart to want to serve and to get better together, Lord. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to live powerfully. And I ask right now that you protect this country, unite this country, continue to create a space where we can each show up living out our full purpose in peace and in joy. And I ask that we not only leave a legacy, Lord, but help each of us show up every day living a legacy of love and service. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Shalom.
Thank you.